Hello and welcome again to the Writer Review. This is Eric Carrutt Writer, and this week we're going to be taking a look back at the 2000 crime thriller titled Sexy Beast. Now, Sexy Beast runs for 1 hour and 28 minutes long. It is directed by Jonathan Glazer. This is Jonathan Glazer's very first movie that he directed. This is his directorial debut. It is produced by Jeremy Thomas. The script was written by Louis Mellis and David Cinto. The score was done by Rocky Banos. The cinematography was done by Ivan Bird. And the editing was done by John Scott, Sam Sneed, Louis Mellis, and David Cinto. And the stars of the movie are Ray Winstone, Ben Kingsley, Ian McShane, Amanda Redman. I think his name is Cavan Randalll, and if memory serves me correctly, this was his last movie that he was in. Sadly, he passed away before this movie was ever released, so this is done posthumously. Let's see, we also had Julianne White, Alvaro, Monje, and James Fox. So, what did I think about this movie? Who in the blue hell would have ever expected to see a legendary performer like Ben Kingsley playing a cunning, vicious gangster? Is there a role that he can't play? I mean, in a career that spans 5 decades, Kingsley has played memorable icons like Gandhi. I mean, Gandhi was what really took him to that level. He played an accountant in Schindler's List and Sherlock Holmes' assistant Dr. Watson in Without a Clue, amongst many other films. The last time, Kingsley actually ever played a criminal was in the movie Bugsy as a financial master by the name of Mayor Lansky. But there is one thing that I could tell you, is that in Sexy Beast, he truly defines the beast. I don't know if I would actually regard it as sexy, but in my honest opinion, he was a beast. Maybe not a beast as in like a huge, big, ugly monster type beast, though not necessarily sexy. He was kind of gaunt, old, elderly. But the beast within him comes from his anger, his cunningness. His ferocious demeanor is what really catapults him and truly defines him as a beast. Yes, he is truly dynamic here. And his character's name is Don Logan. He has the fearfulness of a drill instructor, complete with a reddened visage and veins materializing in his forehead. Yes, he is someone you do not want to get crossed with. And then there's a chap who goes by the name of Gal Dove, played by Ray Winstone. Now, Ray Winstone here is a retired gangster, and he's residing in a villa in the Costa del Sol region in Spain. And, he just wants to just simply get out of the gangster business. He's gone legit. along with his wife Dee Dee, played by Amanda Redman. She also wants to get out of the nitty-gritty outskirts of London, because in her past life she used to be a stripper or a porn star. So, Logan flies from England to Spain, where Gal is residing, taking up permanent residence, gets him out of his comfy home, and demands, he doesn't ask, he doesn't suggest, he demands that Gal should come back to him in London for one last heist. Gal refuses, but do you think Logan is gonna take his rebuff lying down or just dismissing it? It's not that easy. It's already been set up, and Logan's superior, Teddy, played by Ian McShane, is expecting him. And when they ask you something, you don't ask why, you ask how high. These are guys you don't want to fuck around with. Now, Logan is a person who doesn't accept no for an answer, but then again, neither of his other associates. And Gal informs our audience, and as well as his wife, and his friend and his wife, that once these guys have their minds set on something, it's permanent. Logan's fearful ways is not just based off of his toughness, but because he is just by nature an angry tyrant. He has the instincts of a Doberman, hard-nosed and vicious. He takes the loyalties to please his leaders and to inject fear to those who cross his path. He has the natural talent for utilizing absurdities in volatile ways and shows no apologies about it. He is as mean as a rattlesnake. He can get by through that. I mean, he looks like a scrawny little guy. But then again, so are Wolverines. Until you come at close range. Sexy Beast falls in the annals of movies that centers around Cockney people of England, along with the Long Good Friday and the Limey, along with the lines with the darker underground of London. The characters depicted fall right into place. Gal is a gangster who wants out, but Logan's manipulation is to inflict fear. Teddy, the ringleader, has everything in place for this heist. And Harry, who owns the bank played by James Fox, claims or believes that Teddy is his lover, and he has no worries in the world because he thinks that his vault is unbreakable. The heist at times seems, kind of resting on peculiarity here. And once Dove agrees to go along with it, The criminal seems to have access to what appears to be like a Turkish bathhouse where the vault is. But sometimes I often question if their common sense is really all there. I mean, sure, they play the game of fear, but do they play the game in smarts? I mean, in order for them to get to the vault, they should have came to the common sense to drain the pool, so the crooks had to, sport themselves by wearing breathing gear to get to the vault, which naturally the water fills up, which leads to an incredible scene where a crook finds the deposit box, hoping it will contain something valuable, only to get an unpleasant surprise. If I was to sort of choose a favorite scene, oh boy, I said it, I made a mistake, but I digress. If I was to choose a favorite scene, it would definitely have to be the opening scene. I mean, it is truly quite an eyeful. I mean, here you have Gal relaxing by the pool, soaking up the sun, without a care in the world. Everything just seems calm and serene, and oh, such a beautiful scenery. It really, really is. Then all of a sudden a giant boulder comes crashing down and nearly crushes him to death. I mean, this scene alone is very metaphoric. Eventually, Dove becomes the boulder by the time the second act turns. But then again, the real scene stealer of the ball has to go to Kingsley. Kingsley has demonstrated that he can play any character you throw at him. I mean, he's scary, he's ruthless, he's manipulative, short-tempered, and feeds off his words with remorseless frustration. I never thought he had it in him. His most cunning was the scene where, while on a flight from Spain to England, where an attendant asked him not to smoke on the plane and to put the cigarette out. But Logan will not oblige without a fight. That scene was definitely worth the applause from the audience. I mean, the thing is about the scene was that, he resisted arrest. He ends up, blackmailing the attendants who were arresting him, saying that, and he's ended up saying something like the attendant was sexually molesting him. And the worst part is that these cops or these officials believed him. I mean, he just said it just so convincing that he got away scot-free. He's an expert at blackmailing. No question about it. Now, Ray Winstone is the other character who stands out. I mean, he turns in a pretty good performance as Gal. And, also Ian McShane, who's been around since forever, also does a formidable job as Teddy. But I think the performers in this movie were just so badly upstaged by Kingsley, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, but Kingsley just rolled over them. And that's not to say that Ray Winstone has never played fearful brutes. in movies as well. I mean, who can ever forget his scary performance as an abusive father in Gary Oldman's Nil by Mouth, or The War Zone with Tim Roth. And here he's not exactly playing, the cookie cutter protagonist. No. He's still just as legit and lethal, and is just as much of a badass as Kingsley. And but I guess he's probably just the less of two evils. I mean, eventually he does get pushed in. But he wasn't pushed in, he was forced in. Okay. So if these performers or these directors want Winstone as their villain, they can surely get it out of him. I mean, Dove, or Gal, as he's called in this movie, he just wants to get away. But, even amongst the villagers in the villa where he's residing, he can still inject fear from them. But at the same time, he is frightened by Logan. But then again, that's just to say that everybody who crosses Logan's path are feared by him. So, once the heist is done, Teddy eventually drives Gal back to the airport. And there are a few surprises within this scene, which is both jilted and part ironic. There is some dark humor depicted in this movie, but I think the thriller elements truly upstage the humor. And, with these criminal guys, the Sopranos could really take notes from them. So, if there were any weaknesses to the movie, my guess would probably have to be the Cockney accents. They surely could use a little closed captioning if you don't understand what they're saying, because sometimes, it is hard to decipher. Yeah, they may be speaking English, but they're not speaking North American English. I don't think they're speaking the Queen's English, but they have their own lingo, and sometimes it's not easy to reiterate. Another weakness is, I guess you could say, it's too short. I mean, it only runs for 88 minutes long. It could have been better if it was like maybe an hour and 45. Not 2 hours, but maybe an hour and 45 to an hour and 50, and that would have been just a bit better. For first time direction from Jonathan Glazer, I gotta say, that was very, very impressive. So once the smoke clears, if I was to give a scale out of 10, I would probably likely give Sexy Beast, I would probably give it a 9 out of 10. So I guess this ends my writer review. Thank you all for listening in. If you wish to subscribe to my channel, please feel free to do so. If you wish to leave a comment, go right ahead. But just remember, be kind, be courteous, and please refrain from any rude comments. And I will be back again with another movie review. So until next time, this is Eric Rutter saying, keep watching those movies, and I'll see you around. Goodbye.